Detroit, 1998. The Opera House is packed to honor the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. Backstage, tension cuts through the air. Aretha sits silently, furious over a name on the program she never approved. She calmly tells her assistant, "If he sings tonight, I walk." Panic spreads. Aretha commands respect without a microphone. For years, she stayed silent about betrayals and ego clashes, but near the end, she started naming names. First on her list, Beyoncé, the comment that sparked a royal feud. At the 2008 Grammys, Beyoncé called Tina Turner the Queen. The crowd cheered, but Aretha, who earned the title over 4 decades, saw it as a challenge, a disrespect to her legacy. Aretha called the remark a cheap shot, sending shockwaves through music. It wasn't diva drama, it was about protecting Black women's history. After that, Aretha avoided events Beyoncé headlined and refused to share the stage. Friends say Aretha called her a gifted girl who forgot to curtsy. But the next name on her list was even closer, a former friend, Ray Charles. In the 1970s, Aretha and Ray planned a historic live duet. Rehearsals were joyful, but one night on live TV, he humiliated her, and the duet never happened again. When the cameras started rolling, everything changed. Ray Charles, the master improviser, veered off the planned arrangement, stretching bridges, adding flourishes, twisting rhythms. What should have been a seamless duet became a musical trap. Aretha, ever the pro, tried to keep up, but the balance slipped. To viewers, it looked spontaneous. To Aretha, it was calculated. Off camera, Ray joked with producers, "She's great, but not quick on her feet." That jab cut deep. Aretha, who built her career on control and poise, was humiliated. She never performed with Ray again, not on TV, tours, or private sessions. Insiders say she told friends, "He turned a duet into a solo and me into his punchline." It was personal betrayal from someone she once called brother. Next up was Luther Vandross, the studio clash that turned ugly. In the early 80s, Aretha was staging a major comeback. Clive Davis paired her with Luther Vandross, a young producer known for silky arrangements and precision. At first, the match sparkled. Aretha's fire, Luther's finesse. But tension grew. Luther, a perfectionist, demanded every note perfect. Aretha sang by instinct, raw and real. The breaking point came late one night. Luther snapped, "Stop over-singing." Silence fell. Aretha stood, locked eyes, and fired back, "Nobody tells the Queen how to reign." She walked out, just like that. The album Jump to It was finished and became a hit, but behind the scenes the energy was toxic. Every harmony hid an argument, every take was a battle. They never worked together again. Aretha never forgot. Privately, she said Luther made great music, but he made it hell to create. To outsiders, it was creative tension. To her, it was about respect and the lack of it. But that was mild compared to what came next. The next artist didn't challenge her in the studio. He tried to erase her legacy with a single quote. Keith Richards, the insult heard round the world. In 2007, the Rolling Stones guitarist dropped a bombshell in a Rolling Stone interview. Soul died with Otis Redding. Aretha's still around, but it's not the same. To some, just a cranky rocker. To Aretha, it was a dismissal of her lifelong artistry and impact, especially coming from someone who'd watched her transform music firsthand. She didn't stay quiet. In a rare radio interview, she replied with grace and a sting. Some people confuse loud guitars with depth, bless his heart. But behind the scenes, Aretha was furious. She'd performed longer, won more Grammys, and ruled more charts than the Stones. Yet Keith reduced her to a footnote. Insiders say she banned mentions of the Stones from her shows, declined co-headlining offers, skipped awards where Richards appeared. She never shared a stage or spoke his name again. To Aretha, legacy was sacred, earned and fiercely protected. Next was Dionne Warwick, the funeral drama that reignited old flames. In 2017, Aretha, battling illness, was conserving her energy. Then headlines surfaced about Dionne Warwick's comment at Whitney Houston's funeral 5 years earlier that Aretha was expected but didn't show. What Dionne left out? Aretha was physically unable to attend, battling swollen feet and grief. To the world, it seemed minor. To Aretha, it was a slap in the face. She stayed silent then. But in 2017, she sent a rare 5-page letter to the press, accusing Dion of lies and drama-mongering at a sacred event. Their decades-long feud, quiet jabs, cold shoulders, had reached its end. Aretha closed with a pointed line. Dion knows what she did. No further comment. No forgiveness. Just finality. And the next name? He didn't cross her at a funeral. He crossed her on her own turf. Detroit. Eminem. The Detroit boy who showed no love. Aretha Franklin didn't just live in Detroit. She was Detroit. Her voice rose from its streets, becoming the city's heartbeat. She gave back endlessly. Benefits, mentorship, pride. So when Eminem exploded onto the global stage in the 2000s, becoming Detroit's new face, Aretha expected a nod, a sample, a shout-out. Nothing. Eminem referenced hip-hop legends, rock icons, even Detroit peers, except her. To fans, maybe an oversight. To Aretha, erasure. She broke barriers for artists like him, paved the way. At a private dinner, when asked about Eminem's rise, she shook her head and said, "He knows who I am. He just chose not to care." Later, asked about his lyrics, she gave one word: noise. No beef, no drama, just a quiet freeze. Because Aretha's blessing meant everything, and withholding it meant just as much. But the final betrayal? Not a rapper or rocker. It came from a man with a piano and a smile. Billy Joel, the duet that died before it lived. Aretha admired Billy Joel, his songwriting, his crowd command, his respect for musical legends. So when a joint concert was pitched in the early 2000s, she was intrigued. The rehearsal? Off from the start. Billy was friendly but too casual. His jokes felt patronizing. During a break, he laughed and said, "Come on, Ree, loosen up. Take a shot of whiskey." Aretha didn't drink, never had. She'd built a career commanding respect without dulling her edge. The comment wasn't just clueless, it was insulting. She quietly packed up and walked out. No drama, just silence and a slammed piano lid. Later, a friend heard her say, "He plays piano like a poet, but talks like a fool." The concert was quietly canceled. No press, no follow-up. From that day, Billy Joel vanished from Aretha's world. No invites, no duets, no shared stages. Because for Aretha, respect was the music behind the music. Once it was gone, so was the bond. For decades, Aretha let her music speak. The first woman in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The voice of respect, natural woman, chain of fools. But behind every soaring note was a story, a conflict, a silence she kept, until now. At 76, with her legacy secure and the end near, Aretha chose to speak the truth. Not for revenge, but for clarity. Because even queens bleed, even legends get burned. And sometimes, the loudest anthem is finally naming the names. Which name shocked you the most? Was Aretha right to hold these grudges? Or was it just the cost of greatness? Let us know below. The queen may be gone, but her voice still speaks volumes. Please subscribe to our channel for more videos, and don't forget to press the bell icon.